Now? Okay, very good. 大家好. So tonight we'll talk about this topic, right? AI-driven process design and optimization. So I think we all know that AI will help us to automate the task, isn't it? Right? So before we do automation, we should know the process. Okay, what is the processes and how can we improve the processes? Okay, hi chance. Okay, yeah. So that is very, very important, right? Yeah. So let's start tonight's session and a very, very interesting topic, right? So we look at the different area. We look at the process design and the process analysis. What are the core principle and the methodology and tools, and we also look at the application and future direction also. Okay, yeah. So introduction, right? If you look at the process design, right? Actually, there's some in almost every industry, whether you are in the engineering, management, system thinking, right? They all using the process design, right? So I think that is a very relevant topic, and it involved in creating, evaluating, and also optimizing the process, right? So that is sometimes we call systematic creation and evaluation. We are focusing on the efficiency and effectiveness, right? And the application across all the industry, as I mentioned, involved in manufacturing, software engineering, healthcare, and many, many areas. And of course, we look at the challenge. At the same time, also we will look at the, okay, hi, Wilson. Okay, yeah. So we also will look at the different type of challenge also, right? Yeah. So yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Okay. Wilson asked, right, after the workshop, will the PowerPoint share? Yes, we will share over the e-learning. At the same time, I will post the video. We will for the Monday we will live record it in the YouTube. Okay, yeah. So if don't worry, okay, we will definitely open up for everyone to share also, right? Yeah. So let's look at the process design. Okay, yeah. Look at the process design. Okay, yeah. So we look at the definition of process design. If we want to automate our process, okay, our task, we must understand how to create and re-engineering a process. And we start with understanding and the desired outcome. There's a different step. So first, we need to map all the steps related to the process. Let's say, for example, we are talking teaching, right? So we need to map out every step of the training and what kind of resources we need and what is condition, right? So if we don't do that, it's very difficult for AI to automate the process. Then we need to balance the trade-off, like it's very expensive. If a high quality, high speed, you need to invest more, right? And whether the process is sustainable, right? So I think that is all the consideration, right? So for example, if we're to talking about the coffee, right? A very popular, okay, brewing a coffee. And we need to, have the different machinery, right? So for example, the French press or drip machine, all this stuff, right? So when we know the whole process, then we can able to make choices affecting the taste, time, and cost also. Right? Yeah. So it's very complicated if you look at different industry. That's why we always say that is you need to scale up, okay, in the different industry. And some industry is not very process oriented, right? So then, for example, chemical engineering, a lot of testing. You cannot find a fixed process when you're exploring the new result product, right? But if once you find it in terms of manufacturing, then actually you are able to look at the process. And software engineering, right? Software engineering actually we also very focusing on the process design. So what is the process analysis? When we define a process, when we really want to analyze a process, right? So we will look at the existing process, right? And that we will dissect the process to understand how it works first. So we zoom into that particular process, and then we look at the whole entire steps. Then we need to identify the most difficult part, the bottlenecks. And the bottleneck, of course, we want to improve the bottleneck and we want to reduce the redundancy. That is where we can do using AI to automate, right? Because certain thing that you can able to repeat, the repeat and then repeating thing, you can cut it down. And when you cut a certain process, what is the risk, right? So that is how we analyze. So the bottleneck, redundancy, and the risk always the key step. We need to compare with different process. So we call process design. When we look at the process design, it's a very important, something we call blueprint. And when you do a process analysis, especially to involve in human, sometimes very stressful. Okay, your team may not happy, right? So you say, oh, what I'm doing is no good, right? I've been doing for 30 years, right? So far, no problem. Now you say my process not so good. So a lot of stress, okay, a lot of challenge when we implement that, especially with the human. And for example, if you look at the hospital environment, right? So you need to really analyzing the patient intake to identify the delays, right? So you're going to measure, right? So that you measure the quality, right? This month we're all talking about the production and operation management. And the data show that the waiting time is 45 minutes. So you're using a other process, other hospital to benchmark your performance. That is how we call process engineering. What are the core principles we need to focus when we design the process? First of all, is a purpose-driven design. So there's a reason. So we identify a process before we automate the process. Every process must have a very clear goal, right? So let's say, for example, Bruno is a process manager. You go into the company and look at the process. First thing is he will ask, what are the process? Okay, does the process serve a goal? I mean, now it's very famous, Elon Musk, right? Okay, it's turning the whole American government upside down, right? So he also, before he go in, he must go through a process purpose-driven design so that, does the process relevant? If no, they cut it off. So that is where we need to avoid a aimless, very straining task together, right? So those process no longer relevant, cut it off. So efficiency is important because we want to minimize the wastage in the time, materials, or effort. And we want to maximize the output, of course. And we can able to encourage the lean thinking. For example, Toyota, right? So it used to be a number one, right? Used to be, because today with the EV, all this, there's a lot of challenge with the traditional leader. But the lean thinking is originated by Toyota, very successful. Flexibility, you really need to have flexibility so that you have changes, right? Because once you identify the process, you fix the process, what happened is something happened. You need to make changes, right? Some new regulation, you see that a lot of new regulation coming out every day, right? Between countries. So you must be flexible enough, okay? Then must be measurable. I always mention that in the operation, you don't measure, you cannot be measured or not measurable, there's no point. Right? So we need to make sure that we can have defined parameters, metrics for improvement. Of course, remember that process, even you automate by using robot, even using say AI, right? End of the day, you still serve human, right? So you still make sure that this cater for human-centric, okay, approach. So what kind of methodology and tools we can use when we design the process? Flowcharts. Right, flowchart I think is very straightforward, but sometimes flowchart is too complicated to model a challenging solution. So sometimes we have process maps. So you give us a visual tools for us to outline all the process, and then we can decide where we make the major decision, right? As for example, order fulfillment process. You have order. Imagine that you are the Taobao, right? You're the Shopee in Singapore, right? So a million order every day. How are we going to deliver the order? That one, you need to have very clear process map. Then you need to have lean methodology, focus on eliminating the wastage. We don't want wastage, right? So cutting unnecessary step in the supply chain. So this is why you think about that, right? Let's say, for example, you implement an AI solution for the company. You cannot just go in and implement the whole AI solution. You need to really look at the whole process. When you do a process re-engineering, then you implement the AI solution. That is the best approach. And sometimes you may be considering using a simulation. Okay, building a factory in some country is very expensive. And all the top company, they were using simulation to simulate the factory operation before actually start building the factory. Okay, so you can cut down $1 million. So end of the day, we're also using a value stream mapping. So as I mentioned, that the process must associate with the value, must have purpose, right? So you map out all your purpose, value, then you start implementing the process. That's called value streamline mapping. Okay, so just give you an example about applying across different domain, right? Let's say manufacturing. Ford, is a pioneer in car long time ago, 1913, right? So he's the first one implement a water flow process. So he mapped up the whole entire car manufacturing process, and then he do it assembly line. Everyone specialized in particular assembly process. So that's why they are very, very successful at the beginning, of course. And we reduce car production time from 12 hours to 90 minutes, So the same thing. Today, you see certain tasks may be 90 minutes. With the AI, it may be cut down in 1 minute. You're going to see that happening. But one point is, before you do it, you must understand very clear the process. Let's say, for example, right, Bruno want to automate the whole entire sales. But Bruno himself, he must go through a whole entire sales process. Otherwise, how are you going to automate? Isn't it? Right? But once you understand process, you think that is the flow is there, and then you can replicate. You can replicate. Okay? Yeah, so I think that is a very important. And the other one is a software development, right? So I think we all understanding that the programmer may be disrupted. Okay, future we may not need programmer, but this beyond the point. The key thing is the whole software development cycle is still quite complicated. Even you cut down the programmer. So this is why we have a different methodology. For example, agile model. So we don't wait for 1 year or 2 years, get all the requirement, then we start implement. We don't do that. We get certain portion of the requirement, we start implement. Then we feedback, we keep on changing all the requirement. And then nowadays, company no longer hiring, oh, Patrick, you're the operation person. Chance is a software development. No, company not hiring that. He hire one person, right? So Wilson will be doing the we call DOP manager. What is the DOP manager? Development and operation manager. Because he is a developer, at the same time, he's an operation manager. 2 in 1. So today, you're going to see DOP plus AI. You are going to be an AI person, you're going to be development, you're also an operation person. But that one, of course, you will earn 2 times salary because company don't need to hire AI person, they don't need to hire a operation person, they don't need to hire a development engineer. 3 in 1. Okay, understand that. So this is why there's a lot of process like interactive coding, testing, deployment, and analyzing, but all these things this is a process and can be automated. Healthcare, we understand that, right? We go to the operation room because operation room is very, very expensive. Not need a lot of money to invest, right? So you have very limited operation room, but you're doing all the operation, very critical thing, right? So you need to have scheduling. The drug dispensing system, on and off, we may encounter error. Using robot, using AI, you can handle that. And then you can able to streamline the process, save life, and reduce cost. So you're going to see the AI going to be applied in today or future healthcare industry. Of course, serving industry definitely, right? I mean, we still need human to serve you, but end of the day, we use AI, we can able to cut the productivity in the next level. So we cannot say that everything is perfect, no challenge, right? Yes, of course, we got challenge. So for example, the complexity in process design, sometimes we need time. We need quite a long time, especially the process very complicated, right? Then we have more steps introducing more variable control. Just like we talk about learning, right? So the learning is going to be, let's say teaching is an interesting process. Later we have chance to share with you all about very interesting concept called ACF, right? Okay, yeah, so it's an AI-based co-learning framework, very interesting process, right? So he's, maybe, chance later you can share a bit of that. That is cut down the whole entire learning process. Very, very exciting. So we need to look at the step. At the same time, the data must be misleading. Sometimes can be misleading the process, right? We're talking about challenge, trade-off, difficulty, right? So sometimes the data we collect during the process may be misleading, right? Then hide certain quality issue we don't know, right? So yeah, very fast we can produce the thing, or AI can do anything, but the quality may not good, you see. And also remember, every new technology coming, or human always say, "Aya, later lah, not yet lah, not yet lah." Okay, not so good lah, not so good. Tanga sin lah. Not that, no. But human will resist that. So you're gonna see a people around you, 2 type of people. One is no, AI is no good. No, I'm better. The other group is that without saying anything, he jumped in the AI already, just like many of you. He jumped in to learn the business AI system. You're learning, you're fast, we are very fast. A lot of people not moving, and they resist. That is the problem. Okay, so we are not questioning about whether we should move fast or not. Okay, we should go along with the trend. But honestly, around you, a lot of people will resist that. If you're the boss, you have a worker, you say, hey, I want to implement AI. What? Then the staff say, oh, you're going to fire me, right?冇工做啦, no, not that, not that. Right? So that is a resistance. The other one is an inevitable trade-off. The speed too fast, too smooth, but end of the day, you may not be accurate. Okay? And sometimes you need to precision, you need to be slowed down. So that one sometimes is, we need to do a trade-off. And automation can lead to high upfront costs, right? So don't worry, don't expect automation can speed up or can definitely just save time and save costs. No. So today, companies jump into automation, they must expect the cost. You see the generation of the AI, right? Remember that before DeepSeek come in? $1 billion, okay, Chance spent $1 billion in doing AI. People laugh at him. Only $1 billion. At least about 50 billion. Right? But with DeepSeek coming, change already. Right? So what I'm trying to say is that when you implement the AI, take note of the cost. The upfront cost can be very high. So it's why you're not seeing every country, every business, every person they equip with AI because certain thing can be very expensive. So it's why in our group, we hope that make AI very accessible. Okay, we want to make business AI very accessible. Almost everyone can learn that, right? So so there's a lot of case studies. As I mentioned that, for example, Ford, right, scale up the whole entire process very successfully. However, also they have new process implement, right? But end of the day, they also have a temporary efficiency. So now we all understand the process design with AI very important, right? So we ask ourselves, what is the critical perspective? We as a human, right? We want to speed up the whole process. We want to make it. We want to optimize the process, right? Yeah. So like fields, when we use the fields, industry resolution, modern logistics, right? And often linked to short-term thinking. We want to cut the cost this month. We want to save the cost. So going to short term, you did not have long-term plan. That is a challenge. The other one is the efficiency with the resilience, right? Yeah. So sometimes you optimize certain process, you accidentally cut down certain process, the whole supply chain may cut off, right? For example, now we talk about tariffs, right? So we want to increase the tariffs, but you may cut down the whole entire worldwide global supply chain, if not carefully. So be very careful when you really stream down the process. And lean and automation sometimes, also a question process a necessity, right? So sometimes you may ask a question that, you may overcut or automate certain process, which is very important, right? You need to really have a lot of human involvement. Human element in process design, right? Yes, there is many people are predictable, unpredictable, right? Today your team may say good, AI is good, but tomorrow they say, oh, AI may not be good because I don't have job. So human is unpredictable. So when you have human element in the whole process design, then the human will be one of the challenge. So back to 2019, okay, many years ago, the robots, okay, all the robots increase output but decrease the worker morale. So look at that. AI coming, robot coming, very fast, but the other end, the team is not happy. They slow down, you see. So overall, is it gain or loss? So take note of all these issues. So let's talk about future direction. Yes, technology is really changing the whole process, especially with the AI automation, right? So AI machine learning can predict the bottleneck and suggest the optimization. The predictive maintenance in factory is very important because if factory down, so that machine is failed, that's it. The whole operation is down, finished. So then with the, I think a lot of real-time data will be receiving by using IoT devices, Internet of Things devices. So you have massive data coming in. And together with AI, right, then in this case, you are able to do a lot of very powerful analysis. Design operation actually no longer very clear. In the old time, Oh, Patrick, you do design fine. After you do a design, you give it to Timothy and doing the manufacturing operation. But now it's no. When Patrick doing design, he may do some operation. So it's not so clear now, right? So it's an agile, very fast moving process. But we all know that when you go to 2030, every machine got sensors, right? When you're driving a future car, every part of the cars all have sensor. So you know exactly what's happening in the car. The only thing is that you as a body, you don't have sensor. You don't know yourself. Actually, you know the car, everything, right? So yeah, so sensor is almost everywhere. The AI, we design the workflow in the real time. It means that suddenly something happened, the AI able to feedback the whole operation change instantly. Wow, that's going to be very powerful. So you can imagine that, in 5 years later, when you complain about certain thing, the machine suddenly change, the whole new machine come out immediately. That is the future. Okay, it's going to come in. So the first conclusion is, yes, process design, we understand that with the technology, process design analysis is a balance between creation and critique. And also is combined with the structure. Structure is very systematic, but too systematic, you'll be a very, very rigid, right? So they believe between the structure and the adaptability, right? Yeah, so we hope that we're able to transforming the keyword into order instead of a messy environment. The human factor can creating order and never a perfect process, right? So in this case, we will put in technology in place. It is a process in keep on asking questions so that you're able to understand the environment, you understand, and you can keep on improving. Yeah, so the Six Sigma is the modular methodology, right? Very, very powerful quality management. Then you're going to see with all these things, you can go deeper into a quality management, and the AI role in process design and automation is really, really important, right? But that's where this year, many of us will believe this year is AI agent. Why AI agent? Because AI agent come in to automate certain processes. So we all agree that, okay, fine. AI in process design is critical and design. So what exactly AI can do? Yes, AI can do a lot of things. AI role in this the process design, it will transform the structure sequence of steps, right? So when you go through, you teach AI or show AI one round, AI can break down all the process for you automatically. Wow. And they're able to enhance the adaptability. Okay, it be very accurate, accuracy will go up. At the same time, you're able to see long term. So what exactly the AI application in factory flooring? We say for factory flooring basically is, you go in the whole production line, right? So most of the production line actually you see is they already have AI. Okay, the software development, software pipeline, the healthcare workflow, the logistic network, right? So all is application of AI. So this is why for some of you want to develop AI startup, I can share with you, there's a lot of things need to rebuild. Everything you need to rebuild. You don't need to crack your head, hey, what kind of idea I should when I want to develop AI? No, everything I say now is all potential idea for you to develop your AI and turn into $1 billion company. That is massive, right? So then the benefit of AI, it can process huge data. Of course, we also look at some challenging, right? So when we understanding a process design, right, we need to understand about the basic of process design. We did mention just now. So it's a not only creation of process, also refining the process, right? Don't just take out the process. Refine, improve the process, improve existing process. Mapping the step, resources, condition, and then you're able to we call dissect. You mean that one process actually you may not clear. Keep it as a small process and measure performance and then spot the area of improvement. Suggest the improvement, right? The historical approach is rely on human expertise. That is old time. Okay. Also look at the flow chart. No, now we cannot do that. Too slow. Okay, now those tools like Lean, Six Sigma, all this with AI going to be very, very powerful. Of course, the AI role is clear. So how AI enhance the process design? Now we go into a bit more detail. We understand that now design is all about data driven, right? So traditional design start with assumption. We assume, the path is like that, right? The step is like that. We assume, right? But no, AI coming different. AI will look at your data, your old data, your historical data, and do a modeling. This is very powerful. It's not based on your experience, you just imagine. No, it's AI will do a modeling, real-time modeling. Then the neural network they were analyzing all the production logs. So feed in all the log to them, they were able to do a learning and we call neural network analysis. And the most important is it will suggest the best machine usage factoring in the downtime and variability. It means that if a downtime certain machine is not working, and then they will say, okay, with AI say, hey, better you can use this rest of machine in this way. Okay, yeah, so they will recommend you. We call it's improvement, automate the machine usage. AI can do a very powerful simulation. I'm going to share with you. Simulation in the business environment is very expensive in the past because you really need someone to understand your problem and fit in the system. After that, ask a software engineer to write it. Very, very expensive. Congratulations to all of us. Now, with the AI, we can do a powerful simulation scenario, right? Yeah, in the teaching that in the Wednesday we teach. Also, it become a scenario simulation-based teaching, right? So, and you can design a warehouse layout by testing the robot path, cell placement, and the picking schedule, all through all through the simulation by AI and virtual reality (VR) or AR. So, and then in this case, why we need to build a simulation? Because we want to implement the design faster rather than human trial and error. You understand? So that is a future factory. So if you're from Indonesia, I believe that factory manufacturing in Indonesia is moving very fast, right? You're going to see that happening in Indonesia, right? Yeah. So you're going to see applied in the farm area, agriculture. So everything is going to be changed. With the generative design, AI can propose a best, wonderful, amazing process we can never think of. And the real-time adaptation, just like I mentioned, is very, very good. So the data-driven blueprint, and what is this blueprint, right? It's a traditional design assumption, as I mentioned, right? So traditional problem is that they fix too many assumptions so that they will say, oh, okay, two machine handling 100 unit daily. That is kind of traditional. But with AI, very different. They will look at the historical data to do a modeling. Then they will look at the log and suggest who say that two machines can only handle 100 units? No, right? So they will find the best way. So the machine able to, to handle 1,000 units, right? And also we can factor a lot of downtime. So all these things, it's called data-driven AI blueprint. So simulation, we already mentioned, right? Then the AI, so we can able to implement reinforcement learning to simulate the various scenarios. So something like that, right? So let's say, for example, we are managing a retail shop. So with the AI coming in, basically the owner will think, okay, fine, I got a shop now. If I expand the shop, right, or I start another shop, right, what is the likelihood that I can make money? Right? So your expansion shop can be you rent a bigger space, looking for a new location, or replicate, or even sell, move to overseas. All these things you can simulate now, right? With the AI, wow, and AI able to give you the best we never think of. This is why I always say that if you are the manager, if you are the entrepreneurs, if you don't use AI for your business, you will be kicked out from the business opportunity. Okay, so now I want to share with you the real-time adaptation. That one is something new. AI real-time adaptation, it means that it's not in the old time. We get the idea. We got a problem and go back and talk to the team, right? And then a few months later, come back and change. No, now you're going to witness the world best system coming up. Okay, so for example, Siemens already using AI-driven turbine production, right? So they will design in the 2022, right? They design turbine production. And they're using machine learning to analyze the material flow energy cost. And they can cut down to 15% of the wastage. It's much better than human, right? Of course, I'm not saying that we're going to eliminate human. As I mentioned, is that the simulation will go into the simulation engineer, right? And such real-time adaptation with AI, right? We were able to get static design become very outdated. Okay, we don't do static design anymore. It's a live design, right? So AI will be able to enable the dynamic processes. For example, traffic control, right? Our traffic control is, sorry to say that, very stupid. Because no car is still waiting for the red line is still waiting for 10, few minutes. No car, no car. Okay, and when old man Patrick walking slowly, the lights flash so fast. Right? So traffic lights should change, redesign so that it's really intelligent enough to change. So the red light is no longer based on timer, right? It's instant changes. Right? So in this case, that is the real-time adaptation system. And then why? Because they utilize a lot of sensor of the data. Right? So I'm okay, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you. This is called generative design. A generative AI, we know that we're using AI to generate a lot of LM system. But generative design in the AI, it will go beyond the optimization. Wow. So optimizing this process is not the best, You go beyond that. Okay, even give you a amazing process. For example, in the chemical engineering, it will subject reactor configuration. Okay, also able to balance the yield and energy use, right? And they were able to give you the best new modern algorithm instantly, right? So our human, when we're managing the process, we no longer look at the fixed process. The AI will help us to improve the process. Wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. Okay, so that is called generative design. So, and just now we mentioned that, yep, so I can move here. Okay, yeah. So we can AI in process analysis. We mentioned that you can do the pattern detection, right? Also, you're able to do a predictive insight, and we can detect if you have any problem, anything is missing, improvement. AI also can help you, and the most important, AI can be doing the continuous monitoring without resting time. Okay, for example, the Amazon fulfillment center is the best among the world. Okay, yeah, so they use a lot of AI. So just now we mentioned that what is the pattern detection, right? So there's a tool we compare with human, right? Our human eyes. Yeah, sometimes human eyes is also very good. So, but in general, what they do, human pattern detection. We look at the potential bottleneck. That's from human. Okay, so for example, in the whole process, very slow. We find that hey, this area of conveyor is a bit slow. Okay, that's what we see. But through AI, very different. Okay, AI will look at the pattern. They will analyze the pattern. They're using the clustering algorithm and find the subtle correction. They don't change. They change bit by bit, right? Then in this case, you're able to find out the best process. Then you make changes, right? Yeah. So that is very good. It's ongoing. So if you look at the predictive insight, right? So if the predictive analysis in the forecasting, I think we need to go beyond just a look at the existing process. We want to look at the future, right? So yes, so we can able to predict analytic in forecasting, right? So we can anticipate the issue before they occur. So we can't predict problem is coming in. Oh, that's very powerful. Then we use a data trend and pattern. We say, oh, this machine going down, going down soon. Okay, it's dying, right? So we know the machine going to break down soon. Then we can also the predictive insight also can apply in supply chain, get able to potential parts shortage, and also can analyze the supply chain, right? Oh, this is a very, very good supplier, very reliable. But this one, no, based on the result, based on trend, I think we may need to have backup for this supplier. So we analyze the supplier situation. Why we need to have this AI predictive insight? Because it allows analysis to preempt delay. Okay, operation is all about avoiding the delay, isn't it? Right? So we want to deliver the product and services right to the customer on time or beyond the expectation. Okay, earlier than they expected. So benefit allow analysis to preempt delay and improve supply chain efficiency. Okay, yeah. So just now we're talking about the monitoring, the detection, right? Yes. So the AI will flag outlier. Okay, in the statistic we say outlier. Everyone is okay, everything is okay, but except some, right? So when we know that when we identify outlier, then we can identify certain smart in server latency. Right? That, for example, for user, very important because we all know that server is serving a lot of client nowadays, right? And cloud services. Okay, so from there, then we're able to see, right? Yeah. So then, or sometimes we say, hey, suddenly the process on my machine or PC a bit of lagging, right? So maybe it's a time for you to look at the hardware, or maybe some unexpected software or hacker is doing something in your machine, right? So all these things AI can flag the situation, notify you. Even in is under the unsupervised learning. That is only AI can do. It means that they're able to keep learning based on all your logs. The logs in the traditionally for us, right? Only when happen coming, we go to log and see what happened, right? So you see that I think for those you are in engineering, you know that we need to have log. But very seldom we go to log until the problem come in. No, AI will be doing the continuous monitoring all the log. And then we see that any difference, any problem, then they will ping pong the note, okay? Look at a certain thing, and then you're able to detect issue human will never find. Okay, so you really need to have a very powerful AI helping you if you're the engineering. Just I mentioned, right? Human need to sleep. Okay, AI don't sleep. Okay, and they will. So continuous monitoring is very powerful. So we are expecting the continuous monitor with AI working very hard. You will do a real-time analysis compared with the human audit. With the AI IoT, the instant they will give you instant alert if anything happen. So now you can go back earlier. You can sleep, and when something come up, then he will call you, right? So you can enjoy your time. Last time, no manager, you don't wait in the factory. You don't go away, factory. You don't go to toilet, you need to make sure that everything is running well. So only AI will be your assistant. The case study is just like we mentioned, Amazon Fulfillment Center. The Amazon using AI analyzing all the pickers, okay? The person pick up the goods, right? Whether the efficiency level. In the 2023, actually, they identified 12% slowdown in the one warehouse, right? And in this case, they will have a redesign because of a new bin layout and solution is quickly redesign the path and problem solve. Okay? So you will be a very, very smart and very powerful production manager if you use AI. So here is some of the AI tools that you can use as an operation manager and production manager. Using the ML, right? LLM. This is a supervised ML, machine learning prediction output from the input, and is that is unsupervised ML, found hidden pattern. That is powerful, right? Because when you say supervised, it means that you already feed in information to the system, the computer, right? But sometimes if it's a pattern, it never happened before, you don't know, it's a hidden, then in this case, the machine learning can help you. Of course, deep learning is important, right? So certain process is very complicated, especially like precision engineering. And then in this case, the neural network can help you to handle this kind of complex system. Especially we can use in healthcare, for example, the MRI workflow, right? I think for those you happen that you go through MRI, it's no cheap, it's very expensive, right? Although you lie down, go through, but it's very expensive. Why? Because inside there's a lot of the whole entire MRI workflow is very complicated. So deep learning will apply perfectly in this situation. And then the other one is we call reinforcement learning, right? So you train the agent to maximize the reward. It means that your AI system will got reward, will got point when you're doing right thing. So you tell, right? So but what is the right thing? Then as an entrepreneur, we will tell the AI that this is the key thing. They're focusing on that, right? So ideal design, for example, like the Amazon, the drone delivery route, what is the best path for them to deliver the goods using drone. The NLP, computer vision, and integrated with the IoT, I think it's very important also. So now we look at the application across the different industry. AI manufacturing is happening. We see a lot of AI robot going in the assembly line. There's a lot and sensor data for speed and precision. For example, Ford, just like we use example, right? 2024, they plan to use AI to predict, right, and reduce downtime by 20%. Okay, advanced car like BYD, right? Then all this, I think the Xiaomi, the new Su7, all this, they're all using AI, a lot of AI. So software development, AI design, what AI can help in software development, it will help you to do a testing suite. But testing is very difficult actually as a software developer. We like to build things. We don't want to like test. It's very boring. Okay, when you talk to any of the programmer or software engineer, oh, they like to build, but they don't want to test. So let AI do it lah. Right? So AI will help you to do a test, analyzing deployment log. For example, we all know that, right? Microsoft, invest in Copilot. So GitHub Copilot actually suggest workflow for improvement. And also, you were able to look at all the, for the bottleneck also. Healthcare, you can do the, of course, you can design patient, trace system. Of course, logistic and energy, all the area is using AI. So as a whole, we can say that using AI, good, right? So we have speed. The task we can take many weeks to do now is only a few hours. The AI can run at the same time with the human, right? So it's the parallel processing is faster than human, right? Human, we only have two hands, one mouth, two eyes, right? Then we do it part by part, but AI can do all together. Okay, so that is a good thing. Very precise, very accurate, even able to go to the decimal point, right? Of course, it can save energy because if you build the AI in the sense that it's energy awareness, right? Then in this case, you can able to cut down a lot of costs as well, right? In fact, there's a lot of applying at home. There is not AI enabled yet. Are you going to see a future of aircon at home, right? So they should able to adjust what degree, what kind of temperature, the environment, so they can adjust the temperature by itself, right? We don't need to do remote control, right? Or when you're sleeping, you wake up, remote control. No, AI will be doing it, right? So you're going to see like AI ready aircon coming in, so very interesting. So proactive is a predict AI. It will help us to shift from the reactive to preemptive. So that's great. Right? This reactive, it means that when things happen, we react. Preemptive, before things happen, we already start working. We always say that the best system, computer system, today, your computer got hacked, you respond. Your bank account got hacked, aiya, chama, we react. No, the future is people want to hack Bono account. I got killed already. Before I hack in the bank account, I killed already. Bono killed me already. That is a future system. Okay, it's a preemptive system. Of course, our bank make a lot of money, but they need to spend the time to build a preemptive bank. Okay, just be careful. The money you put in the bank now, right? So a lot of things need to build. Of course, end of the day is still cost saving. Okay, so to build all this system is very expensive today, but as when people will pick up all the skill, just like we're learning the business information, the AI system, right? So we have all the skill, then building all this solution will be cheaper. So we understand that all this system AI for process engineering, all this require quality data. If you feed the wrong data or the AI learn the wrong thing, it will lead to a poor outcome. Okay, so this is why in 2022, 40% of AI projects fail because AI is not fit. Okay, it's not taking the right data. Okay, so you must be very careful. Don't expect AI give you the best thing because they are going to Elon Musk. He said that the human generated data will be used up in 2 years' time. AI is learning all the human generated data, but 2 years later, all gone. right? So the only data feed to the AI is the AI generated data. Okay, so that one will be very, very challenging. AI model can be black box. It means that we don't know what exact inside, so we cannot even able to do measurement, right? So all these things is we need to be very careful, and of course the trust, whether how much we can trust, right? Just like how much we can trust the human. Right now we need to understand, ask ourselves how much we can trust the AI decision. The cost of training and deployment is very, very expensive today. This is again, this is our group objective is to bring the cost down in training, deploying AI. And yes, small firm is very difficult to use AI. However, with the DeepSeek, with the new technology coming in, I think good news, right? Almost everyone can make use of it. But using the AI is not building application, right? So now only few application coming in. Sometimes it's optimizing too much, and also you eliminate necessary human. All these things is a challenge we need to understand. So the whole process have been evolving, right? Yeah, of course, if we look at the 1995, is a early operation research, right? So they look at the factory, look at the linear process. Then after that, then they have expert system. Okay, for those you are in the industry for quite some time, you have heard about expert system, right? So that is a pre-AI era. Then when you go to the 2000 years, yes, actually machine learning is starting, but at that time, actually there's no such advanced hardware to support, right? So, but machine learning is started in 2000, year 2000. And in 2010, we can see the AI, right? There are AI, but of course, reach to our level, the user level, right? Is only a few years ago, but 2010 is already started, right? So there's a lot of chip computing, a deep learning system, the Tesla factory, right? All using ML, right? But today, general AI and the best computing, take note on that. The AI technology will not be changed. The hardware will change. So why I say that? Hardware will change. Today, hardware is using what technology? Electronic technologies. It's already reaching bottleneck. So next technology will be maybe quantum, right? Quantum computing, because the basic design problem for the computing is one and zero. Our human is not one and zero, right? Our human is analog. So quantum is analog. So when this going to next level, when quantum computing maybe 50 years later is outdated, it's too slow, then I think the biological computer will come in. It's exactly like human. So suddenly Bruno say, I forgot to feed my computer at home. Because my computer is a biological thing, actually. It's a run on biological technologies. I think it's the best. Because we try to use AI to simulate human. What's the best thing to build a human computing? Exactly using biological technology, isn't it, right? So we're going to see an evolvement of the whole thing, but the technology, the software part will not be changed. So if you look at that now, okay, so what is the critical area that we need to look at? Yes, we need to look at the AI in process design before we're talking about the process automation. So C as humanity attempts to master the creation, okay, and focusing on efficiency at the resource. So that one we need to understand, okay, and we need to look at the process. Of course, certain company like McKinsey, the tech giant, they did give us a very good view. We can learn from that, right? This is reason why our program we're focusing on the technology part. We're focusing on the Microsoft, right? Certification portion, right? Because they did give us a very good reference. Of course, we need to keep asking questions that when you learn all the skill, right? So what is the ultimate goal? And take note on that. There's still a lot of myth, right? Misunderstanding, right? So look at all this. And of course, we always mention about a reflection of a culture. We already see the divided AI. One is from the West, one is from the East. We already see cultural difference in the AI environment already, right? So there's no right and wrong. Actually, two different systems. Asia AI technology and the Western AI technology are very different things, right? So yeah, it's good to mirror each other. And then, of course, you look at the Japan. Why Japan at one time they are the production king? Because they have invented this called 改线, okay, 改线 model. The human-centric 改线 model is a perfect system for operation. Okay, so for those who are interested, take the word and go to internet, YouTube, and search. Right, that is a very interesting process. I implement 改线 in my operation, my own life, right? Because I'm a very careless person, always make mistake. Right? So when I learned the 改线, right, I eliminated a lot of mistake in my life. Very interesting, right? It's not new. It's a quite old technology. So future direction is that basically you will look at the autonomous design. The AI will involve in a design process without human. Don't worry on that, okay? It will still AI, but we still rely on a human to deploy, right? But you're going to see AI will finally go into the design. This year is AI in agency, automated process, right? Maybe 2030 is the AI design come in. AI will be doing a lot of sustainability, long-term planning. Of course, we all worry about our Earth, right? So it will eliminate, it will help to minimize the carbon footprint. There's a lot of pilot program have done, okay, using AI to monitoring the wastage, the usage of water also. The human AI collaboration, I never expect AI will replace us. So human, don't worry, but it will be hybrid, okay? It will be a human AI collaboration, right? Yeah. So the hybrid system with AI, with the human involvement, human will vet, will verify the system is okay. That's how we call co-pilot, okay? And then the autopilot, right? At the same time, in the learning area, that we also promoting new concept called co-learning concept, right? So whether we're using electronic computing or not, don't worry, right? We're going to see the advancement of the technology. We need to learn another area about the ethical. So if you read the newspaper, most of them is not only talking about AI application, they're also looking at the ethic. Oh, okay. So is it good or not? Right. So you're going to see a brand new hospital coming into life in 2042, 2040, then this is a few example, right? The process mining tools. Actually, there's a couple of software tools we can use, right? Silences and then the Disco. Then the other one is that also we will share about the robotic process automation called RPA, right? It's automated process. Then the predictive analyzing tools. There's a couple of very famous algorithm we can use. NLP, of course. Simulation tools we have mentioned. The other one is the business process management software also. Then also AI for Lean and Six Sigma. So first, what is the process mining tools? Process mining tools is an AI-driven technology for operation insight. When you deploy these AI tools in the operation, it will tell you very detailed about the whole process. Okay? Okay, just like you have a magnifying glass, right? You look at the process. They will analyze all the log and tell you what's going wrong, and then able to present the data to you in a visual format, in a graphic format. Okay, people love this kind of chart. So this process mining, this company, okay, Celonis, they're a leader in process mining. They offer process analytical capability. They're using an insight, real-time insight improvement suggestion. A lot of big companies using it. Okay, so Disco, okay, it's not the Disco, okay, that you think of. It's a very powerful process mining tools. It will visualize every single process flow. They were able to break down and show you in the visual format, and you're able to identify the inefficiency and use it for the process design, analysis, and improvement also. All right. So what is the RPA? Okay, the RPA actually is I always say is the father of AI agentic tools. So the RPA actually the point is that using software robot to do the task in the computing. Imagine that we as a human every day we look at the computer, right? What we do, we click the mouse, we use the keyboard, correct? Then we listen to the sound. Okay, yeah. Then we look at the result. The whole thing you can able using robot to do it. So this is called RPA, right? Robotic process automation. They will LPA technology actually can help you to automate repeatable tasks using software robot. So instead of you go in, spend the time to find what is the cheapest airline in the world, right? Then in this case, you deploy. You don't type a keyboard. You don't need to you move a mouse. The software robot in the computer will do all this for you. Then it will combine the AI for very complex tasks like decision making and learning, right? So now, wow, AI enhanced RPA, or that is even better. It will use for process design to identify variable automated area, right? So it's not you tell them that automate this task. This program will go in to look at your process and tell you, oh no, you should automate this task. Wow. Okay. So they know if they're going to the higher level. They will use you can use it for the process analysis. Of course, end of the day, what kind of software? Okay, UiPath is the pioneer. Okay, on this area, IRPA. They combine machine learning and AI to automate the process. They offer the process mining and automation. Of course, UiPath actually, in certain extent, they're a bit behind today, right? So inside we can see that is Google, Microsoft, right? They're all launching their own agent software technology, right? Yeah. So, but it's good to know, and the UiPath is the pioneer. We have been trying UiPath for quite some time already. The other one is the predictive analytic tools. Predictive analytics tools is basically using machine learning algorithm to analyze historical data. I did mention many times already. So you are able to using to anticipate the future demand, identify risk. Also, you can optimize the process. This tool software, the Rapid Miner, is a data science platform with the predictive analytical capability, and also able to build the machine learning model to predict the process. Okay, the other one is a SAS, predictive analytics. Okay, optimization algorithm, right? This is an algorithm for us to, is of course AI based, for us to identify efficient solution for very complicated system. It be able to help you to look at the outcome, for example, constraint, what is the resources and what's the objective, right? The application, there's a look at the, we can apply in the manufacturing, logistic, and supply chain management, right? Here is the tools that actually we can use, and more is coming up in this area. So NLM, the natural language processing, right? We have been enjoying the process. Like what I'm talking to you now, right? You see all the live translation, right? It all is related to this natural language processing. So it's a branch of AI focusing on computer-human language interaction. If you ask me, it's more for human interface, machine, CHM, computer-human interface. The application in process flow design and analysis is using the NLP. You're able to help us to identify the pattern and detect the sentiments, right? So look at your face. Are you happy or you're not happy, right? Look at the sentiment. And you can automate the whole entire business decision making process. The Sparsy is an open source NLP library, and Google Cloud Natural Language. Some of you have been using it. Is also, of course, Azure, okay, in Microsoft. So for those who want to explore the simulation for your business, simulation is very good. Why? Because you're able to model the process and test different scenario. You cannot bring down the whole factory and test what happened with this happen. The machine breakdown. You cannot do it. It's too expensive for you to do simulation, right? So you do it in a virtual environment, the simulation. Then in this case, you can change a lot of outcome, and you're able to look at the changes. At the same time, you can reduce the cost. So the application of the simulation tools, right? So you design the optimal process, then using the existing workflow and streamline the whole process, right? Yeah. So here is any logic and a Sim8. Okay, Sim8. Two of them are very popular simulation tools that we can use. The AI-driven business process management (BPM), right? So including this, so Biosagit is the AI-powered BPM tools. It will help you to model, automate, and optimize process. And Okay, Piggy is an intelligent machine system that including AI, of course, and machine learning. It can automate the process workflow, right? It can automate workflow. So you are telling them that what you want to do, they will able to help you to automate, right? Of course, end of the day, you will optimize your business process, generate a lot of data, and then we can do a real-time process improvement. So this is why, as an entrepreneur nowadays, it's quite fun, you know. I always say that just like you are driving a aeroplane, in front of you, the aeroplane is an AI machine, right? In front of you is all the indicator, right? The sales this month, the product quality, the customer demand. You control. Very fun. The future AI, you know, entrepreneur is going to be very, very interesting, right? So all these tools are going to use it. You can use it. So we will talk about quality management in one of the sessions, right? So this is an AI for Lean and Six Sigma, right? So Six Sigma and Lean methodology focus on eliminating the wastage, improve the quality, of course. It will reduce the viability in the process, variability of the process, because we don't want to have the uncertainty, right? So changes may not be good. We want to have fixed process. So this is a how to measure that. The AI coming, it will help us to predict the process performance and able to, to reduce the wastage. So software is the Lean Six Sigma software. The Minitab, right? Minitab is very widely used in many factories. Making decision is important. With the AI, we are able to do a data-driven recommendation. It's not we recommend. For those you do TikTok, Douyin, right? All these things. Why you find that, hey, I don't know anything. You know, it will automatically feed me all the video, right? I just flip the video come up. Why? Because they have data-driven recommendation model. They know you. They learn about you. So instead of you look for the video, I will feed you the video, right? So that is the decision-making process. So it will offer a insight for informed decision making, and you can with the AI algorithm you can able to automate your business process very well. What kind of example? This is IBM Watson. Watson is a very huge computer, very powerful, right? And it will able to play a high level game at the same time do a lot of decision, right? So decision platform for agriculture they also deploy IBM Watson. Data robot they are able to automate the machine learning platform for many industry also, right? So share with you some of the software that we use in different area. For example, the Celonis is in manufacturing. For example, Siemens, the Germany very huge company, actually using this software. American Express, right? So before that, American Express, you need to hire a lot of data operator to enter the data, right? I think we know that, right? So American Express, you're using the credit card, then you have a lot of data entry, all this stuff. If you have problem with the card, then you need to call them. Hey, my card is banged or my card is hacked. I want to stop the card, right? All these things, they're using the UiPath to automate, right? So you complain, they will take the information from the email and then feed in, and then they were able to pass a different process automatically. Any logic in the supply chain management, IBM Watson in healthcare, and Minitab in Six Sigma learning, and here is predictive maintenance by using the data robot. Right? Yeah. So here is some of the examples showing you that how this powerful software improve the German giant, right? Siemens, and also UiPath. Just how we did mention about the UiPath have helped for the whole entire the customer service process. The solution, what they do is that they automate the transaction processing. Any question or anything or people use the card, right? So you don't have transaction. Or everything is using the UiPath to automate. The managing the customer inquiry, handling the back office operation, all done by UiPath. So the any logic in supply chain management, right? For example, Coca-Cola, we all know that, right? So it's very difficult to predict the consumption of the Coca-Cola. Sometimes people like Coca-Cola, sometimes people don't like. So how, right? And then they all have a lot of different products. So they are using the any logic to predict the demand fluctuation. They also look at the inventory level, and the end of the day, they also look at the supply chain, the disruption, right? So end of the day, they have solution through the simulation. They always implement the best solution. At the same time, they have a better result. There's any logic in supply chain management. Like say, the IBM Watson in healthcare, is a they can managing the the patient workflow, automate, okay, or they optimizing the whole entire administrative process, improve the patient volume. Of course, we want to cut down the waiting time, right? You can handle more patient with the technology. Also can able to improve the resource management and able to give a better quality care delivery. So what solution that IBM have delivered? The IBM have implemented a process design analysis software. They use the AI capability to analyze the patient data, optimize the whole entire care workflow, and of course, the result is very good. Minilab, right? Just how we mentioned that, and Minilab actually looking into enhancing the manufacturing process, cut down the weightage. They have an AI-driven statistic data and do a lot of prediction. Of course, end of the day, the quality improvement, we can eliminate a lot of problems. Data robot in predictive maintenance in manufacturing. Few challenge we may want to know, right? When we implement. It will, yes, a challenge is when your machine break down, right? Maintenance schedule, what is the best way to schedule it? At the same time, the costing very, very expensive, right? And different timing, different safety issue. So all these things is challenge. The solution is, wow, data robot, they have a automated machine learning platform. They will analyze the data from aircraft engine, ooh, right? And predict the potential failure. Oh, this is very important, because one for a while, we heard about bad news about the aeroplane problem, right? So all these things is very important. Then all the sensor then able to help us to reduce the downtime and again save cost. So finally, this is the last slide, right? So conclusion is AI in process design is everywhere. Okay, but which area have been used a lot of AI, especially in the process design, is manufacturing. It will improve the efficiency, streamline operation. Healthcare, you can optimize the workflow. Why? Because the healthcare resource is very limited, right? We get able to have a better patient care. Aerospace, the maintenance, because we know the airplane is all, we need maintenance, but how to schedule maintenance, right? And of course, in this case, we reduce the cost. The potential of AI will be advanced use case, a lot of new area, and of course, the better and better technology will come in. Okay, yeah, so that is what we have. Any question before I pass on to our next speaker? Okay, yeah, good. Okay, yeah. So, Chance, okay, I heard about ACF, right? So, share with us what is ACF, and I want to share with us about the also the automation process also. Chance.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Patrick. Yeah, and background of the idea is actually it's a brainchild of our Inky team's collective thinking over the past 1 year, because we've been preparing the for the venture for quite some time, and we are literally trying to offer coaching training, right? And the way that I've been looking at the future, and I think that we already touched on a very universal theme, which is I recently came up with a term. I called it the agentic AI coaching. So agentic coaching itself is somewhat a vague terminology in coaching business. But when we add AI into the mix, but still maintain human coaches at the center of everything, I think we should call it's a agentic coach AI coaching kind of framework. So this framework we try to use this is like an open collaborative book writing style, keep track of what we are doing and engaging the China markets, especially our customer from China, so that these are professionals who are already into coaching, and but not limited to that, because the coaching is just a very key stepping stone to bring the labor force into anything AI, right? Because our belief, also my personal belief, is that keeping human at the center of everything is an imperative in whatever AI system or services that I'm designing. So so the idea of AI co-learning framework or Inky ACF is basically a way to keep track of the thinking, collective thinking, not just for me. I'm just trying to be the editor in chief to keep track of the marketing and conversation that Inky China team are trying to strike with our potential customers, trainees, and hopefully corporate partners as well. So that that topic itself is universal and also broad enough and hopefully we can because this is a global call right for the for our club. So I would rather see it as a club kind of community. And yeah, I throw it out there and hopefully it's a good start to keep the conversation going around the core business of Inky China. Yeah, back to you, Patrick.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Very interesting, right? Yeah. So we're talking about the process in software development, right? So of course, our expert team, our IT director, basically here in the software industry system development for a long time. Team, so what do you think about AI implementation? Okay, thank you, Chance. Okay, so anyone can just visit nk.acf. ACF is the AI co-learning framework, very interesting model. Thank you very much. Okay, so okay, coming back to team, right? So how do you see that? Do you think AI can replace programmer or software engineer? So we always have this question, right? The whole entire process being eliminated by human, right, to AI. Do you believe that will be the case, Tim?
First of all, thank you for asking these questions. I don't believe that AI will totally remove programmer, okay, but it will greatly reduce the number of programmer. Maybe in last time you have like 5-person team to do up a let's say a software development, but now a single person may be able to take on the role of 5-person to do with the aid of the AI because AI able to help you to generate codes. But the important thing that any AI codes that are being generated, I mean any codes that are being generated by AI, the programmer need to know and whether the codes is workable or whether is able to fit the what you are developing. So it is important, and of course, you also see videos that actually the AI itself generate codes and analyze the code, and then even debug it and get it working. But at the end of the day, even that is being done, you still need to know what is happening and how to deploy the codes to the server. And these are really important. If actually let's say there is some bug or anything that need to be fixed, you also need to look through the codes. So I don't believe that it will totally eliminate programmers, but at least the programmer need able to cross-check with all the codes have been generated. Just like how we use AI now, so whatever content is generated, you also need to check whether the content are relevant. The AI is not hallucinating. So that's one of the happening of AI that is if there's some knowledge they don't know, they just anyhow generate the text for you. So same as the codes. So in any area that they are not very sure, they just generate the codes and they thought that it make it works. I have tried myself, try to ask AI to help me to generate certain codes, but I find that some of the codes it work, some of the codes are not working. You need me to tweak it to make it works. Because I mean, being a programmer, sometimes you know that it's very difficult to explain to somebody else what you want and then how you want it to be coded. Then it may be at some point that it code wrongly, and then you need to make modification to it and make it work. That's what I think. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you, team. Okay, yeah. So okay, Bruno is in the area in sales, marketing, okay, and customer services, right? So can you want to share with us about the process in your area and how AI can help you, okay, in streamline the process, Bruno.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the asking. And then I would like to say in two things. The first thing is because what I'm doing is sales and marketing. So I tend to do is in the two part. One is marketing, one is sales, of course. And for the marketing, I will consider that how AI help us is giving me a lot of like contents or a lot of insight of the marketing. So previously, like like when I started a business in a very young age without any I need to do blocking myself. I need to do the infographic myself. I need to do like to manage those social media all by myself. And then actually after I do all those things together, and then oh, a whole day is it ended. That is quite a bad news because you all day to spend time in the marketing, but you do not do sales and you do not close any leads, and then you don't get any money, to be honest, on that part. So I would like to say that currently with AI, I just do the whole things. Obviously, the whole thing again is like building contents, making posts, social media. But I just do it in 1 to 2 hours, and that 1 to 2 hour is helping me to work out for the entire week or entire month for the contents. So by which I would say that AI is speed up our process and then make it more. I would say is make it more fundamentals, or make it more diverse into different area. So it means that no matter what kind of business you are, you can use AI to do the marketing. So apart from that is the sales. To be honest, sales is a little bit different for making AI to do the sales, because although I really want it, I really want the automatations, I really want the AI to do the sales for me, and then I don't need to call others, or don't need to meet other in person. You cannot you cannot just hope that to happen. The only reasons that we use AI for the sale is the like minimize the cost, minimize those effort, like those FAQ, the frequently asked questions. So a lot of people may be interested in your program, and then they may asking the same question. So instead of you are answering them one by one, or take too long of time, you can make a chatbot, or you can make items that you can let them to know, oh, that is the entire process. That is how we experience in it. So all those things you can done by chatbot. But for the process side, for the sales side, if they want to find a person to talk to meet, you still gonna meet them. So I would say is speed up the process, and then is minimize your effort, but you still need to take your own task to do for the selling market.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. Hi, Wyatt. Wyatt is here, right? Wyatt? Okay.
Yes. Sorry,
Hi,
sorry.
Wyatt. It's
Yes.
okay. Yeah, Wyatt. Okay, welcome back. So, okay, want to chat with you, right? Okay, I know you are implementing a very interesting system called Reflection. So your idea basically is to using the cryptocurrency together with education, right? So in this case, what is your process, right? What is the process like? How your client able to integrate or enjoy the education services, but you have a cryptocurrency process. Maybe you can share with us.
Okay. This one actually still actually it's not. I think it's quite nowadays. I think in the crypto market, actually I would like to like combine the real world asset, with the crypto asset. This is what the dream is lah. But I think in the market they already have something called real world asset, and then I mean like the tangible asset that combine with the cryptocurrency, RWA. I think some of you may have heard of it. Yeah, so this is something that which is very interesting now, that we are trying to look at it, but see how it can go, to link up the tangible asset with the virtual crypto asset, so that to make it to be something real one for everyone to invest, and also for crowdfunding. So this aim lah. Okay, sure.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Okay. Yeah, we all know that the cryptocurrency or digital asset, right, is associated with Web 3.0, right? So I think this area is very interesting, especially Web 3.0 plus AI, right? So I think that is really the trend as well. Okay, so I got I got a very good question. I want to pose to all of you, right? Our panel speaker. Okay, so you can look at the chat, right? Basically the question is very interesting. We talk about process. Let's come back to education because many of you joining us tonight, right? So just now we got about 30 participants. That's great, right? So we all in this education environment, right? So how can AI automate or optimize the process design in education? Okay, it's a very interesting question. So I want to get some opinion from anyone. Okay, Anthony, can share with us about your view, how can AI optimize the process design in education? Okay, because every day now in Singapore is also talking about how can streamline the whole process. Okay, Anthony.
Yes. Thanks for the question. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yes, very clear. Thank you.
Okay, good. Great. I'm not that familiar with the education industry or the education sector. So perhaps I'll divert the attention a little bit to the translation industry.
Yes,
rather.
sure.
Is that okay?
Sure.
Yep.
Sure, definitely.
Right.
Then I know you're going to Germany, okay?
Yes.
Okay, you can also relate that. Okay, yeah, okay, pass to you.
Right.
Anthony.
So the automation or the AI assisted translation has been around for quite some time, right? So now with the advent of neural network translation, I think it's getting more and more popular and is more or less becoming the mainstream of the translation and localization industry. So as a result, a lot of people are worried. A lot of translators are worried about their rice bowl or their bread and butter rather.
Yep.
So you can see that the AI assisted translation has a lot of advantages. For example, in terms of speed, right? We can do even things like subtitling on the fly in such a quick manner. Also scalability, right? You can throw in a lot of big volume of menus, the online instructions, for example. Then everything can be generated at the end of the, let's say, the output token as the output token. So it's also very cost effective. And the scary thing is it can also achieve improvement. It can achieve improvement continuously. Okay, it's not that today, okay, maybe they can only achieve 90% of accuracy and 70% of readability, and they will stop it. No, I think they will keep on improving, right? So perhaps in a few months' time, they will be able to achieve 99% of accuracy and 90% of readability. So I think it is quite inevitable that a lot of translators are very afraid, right? But we have also a lot of translation company and localization company has also come up with some surviving skill or surviving techniques so that they will not be replaced by AI wholesalely, right? I think one interesting aspect is they are trying to improve on their the process itself, right? So instead of just doing nothing, actually they are able to make use of the automated process and plug in some of the modules, for example, the post-editing module, right, that require the editing process after one or two round of machine translation. So post-editing process is very important, and even with the machine learning capability, I think they still need about at least 50 to 60% of a human intervention in order to come up with a we call it human level of quality. So the human involvement is actually very important in this area. Of course, they are also something that machine are still not unable to do it very perfectly. One of them is the cultural and contextual translation, right? So the AI is still trying very hard to struggle with some idioms, for example, 成语, right? Some literal context.
Yep.
Humor, right? Cultural specific references. So all these would be things that human translator can contribute a lot. So of course, we need to emphasize the human translator advantage and try to put these advantages throughout the whole translation cycle. For example, the adaptability, the good quality of post-editing and supervision, and also some specialized expertise. For example, places like, or rather domains like legal, right, medical, some technical translation, which must benefit from some subject matter knowledge beyond just the linguistic skill. I think that is more or less I can share with you for this industry automation. Okay, thank you
very much.
Back to you.
Thank you very much. So that is the typical process analysis for the translation industry, right? Yeah. So Anthony is very experienced on this industry, and then he shared with us about the whole entire process, right? Good, thank you. So coming back on that, right? The education, right? So all of us, I think many of us, we are in this education. So of course, we all know that, right? So from the school kids, primary school, we learn how to learn, right? The process very straightforward, right? The teacher teaches us the thing, and then we just learn and exam. But what kind of process will the AI come in, right? So any of you want to answer? Okay, maybe I can trouble some of the speaker again, right? Yeah, okay, Chance. Okay, so you're in the education industry for a long time. What kind of process you think that can be automated or can be optimized?
Sure, yeah. That's been my favorite question I've been asking myself as I work on the various projects. I think first of all, it's the relationship between coach and the teacher and the students, right? They will transform from infusing knowledge into a higher level relationship. When I say high level, meaning that used to be the case that we sit quietly in the classroom, look at the teacher, they just presenting information, knowledge, right? So those are the traditional schooling kind of experiences. Well, they have been right until technology proved that those practices increasingly will become irrelevant, right? So there are a lot of these traps in the agentic coaching, agentic AI coaching era of the teacher-student relationship. First of all, we for the first time in human history we have the ability to do a lot of these really high-level thinking and deep thinking between humans that not possible before. I actually try one kind of inquiry, approaches. I call it Socratic method, right? So if everyone in this call can try it, right? So you can discuss a certain subject or your personal issue with the AI, real time, and then you can, you can ask the AI to act as the guru, right? The teacher Socrates. So Socrates teacher, they will simply use a very special style. They're not going to answer your question. They're going to keep asking you questions until you have your own knowledge and question to combine to discover new knowledge. So that's something really cool. So that method, right, is called Socratic learning. So Socratic learning used to be the case that it's a privilege to have really good teacher, right? You went to college, you the top tier university around the world, right? Those the best teacher, the way they coach you is not by answering your questions. They are simply by asking you the right questions. So we can try that. So for the Socratic method, I think that's the number one benefit of using agentic coaching in this day. Then the second part is like we can also embrace project-based learning. That's super cool as well, because used to be the case that we need to spend too much time, too much effort to to pick up the basic skills, right? But now you can just say, okay, can you make $1 million next year? With such a with this and that combination of different skill and this market opportunity, right? It doesn't sound natural, right? When you have a teacher requiring you to earn $1 million the next year, right? But in the AI agentic coaching era, I think that's possible, and it's highly appropriate, right? Simply because you have everything at hand that never before. Then the whole idea of becoming a productive human being is that you create something new and good that people would want and people will pay you, right? So that's the ultimate challenges to for any job, right? So these I just try to pro the two of the learning that I personally got, and I think we are not seeing these anytime soon, but increasingly people will when I talk about these two tracks, right? It feels very unnatural, but increasingly we will see more and more teacher-student relationship are rolling out like that in the future. Yeah. So just two points from trying to answer Patrick's question from these two perspectives. Back to you, Patrick.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for your insight sharing as well. Okay. I know Bruno is really have passion in education, right? Yeah. So as a young entrepreneur, his dream is to really involve in transformation of traditional education, right? So this question about how AI can optimize the process design in education, maybe I can have Bruno to share with us.
Wow. Wow, I did not know that Dr. Patrick will let me to answer because that sounds like a very Westernary ideal cases for especially for the education system, including it's been lots of years. And then for me, I would say in two things. The first thing is to be honest, I have read a book. It's about the future education, and that book is actually is quite a few years ago, and AI did not come it yet. So I believe that the person who write this book is actually a very insightful guy, insightful person that I can see. And then I would say that one is my own terms, and second thing I will also answer you with other items. During the book is called a very beautiful item. It's called Flip the Classroom, and how we study flip the classroom is it means that while we are in classroom, a teacher will teach us. A teacher will teach us all those things, and somehow in the flip the classroom, instead of teacher teaching us things, they are gathering all the students to do homework, and the teaching staff will be leaving at our house or our homes or at your own our libraries to do so, rather than just we do the classroom so we do the classwork at home. So actually this kind of factor, I believe that is too new or too revolutionary for all the students. However, currently with AI, they are allowing into like automatically tasks for the AI to help. How it says is because as I remember that when I went to, I believe it's Guangzhou, a person there who are in telecom, and then tell me that, oh, actually we are not asking the teachers to mark the homework using the AI. So in the flipped classroom concept, I believe that the people that might be using the teachers might use the AI to mark the tools or to mark the work or to even to say all the contents during the classroom by the AI, and then the people that will learn it and then will also learn it from the AI. So that is the medications as well as the, I would say, can I say it's the tutoring system or the partnership with the AI during the classes. So I believe that those kind of things will be actually is happening right now, but it will be more advanced and more common to be happening in the education system. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you very much. Yes. Okay. I think reading book is still a very good habit. Okay, because a book, no matter how, even AI is very advanced today. I think the book is still the best way for us to communicate. Right. Yeah. Okay. So maybe I can share with you some of the very interesting area that we can improve when AI is changing the existing education process. Okay, so here we saw chance sharing, right? The book reading is the best way to train deep thinking in digital age. Yes, fully agree on that. Okay, so still need to read book. Okay, okay. So I think one of the process is very interesting. You see, most of the students they are still in traditional is one teacher, many students. So the first thing that I think AI can do is to personalize the learning path. So it means the AI based on the algorithm, based on the student performance data, and create a customizable learning path for them. Well, that would be great, right? And we may not able to have a one-to-one teacher because based on the ratio, one teacher, I'm talking about the secondary school or primary school, right? So it's about 40 to 60 sometimes, right? So this personalized learning path is good. I think that is what AI can help us to change the process instead of one-to-many teaching. The other one, I think we really need to do it. If you ask any of the teacher, I can guarantee that all the teachers say, I'm very busy, I'm too busy, I don't have time to eat, I don't have time to sleep. Why? Because they're fully overloaded with the administrative tasks. Teacher need to have a secretary. Now with the AI, the automated educational administrative tasks can be streamlined. So it means AI can automate the repeatable tasks, for example, marking of the assignment, scheduling, attending, tracking, all these things. It can minimize. That's great. The third thing is what we are trying to do, okay, in our group. Intelligent tutoring system. Tutoring is not different than teaching. Okay, tutoring is a tutor talk to you, right? So the AI can able to build so that we can able to provide real-time feedback to you as a student, answering strict questions, right? And a personalized manner. You're going to see that intelligent tutoring system is coming up, and parent will love it. predictive analytics for student performance. The parent always say, if I send a student to you, how is the grade? How is the grade? Okay? Parent always want to call the teacher, how is my the grade of my kids? When you end of the year, you look at the book, wow, everything is fail. Too late. What to do? So the system able to help you to do predictive analysis for the student performance. That is excellent. That one we are trying to do. Okay, the curriculum design. In our group, the curriculum design for the BAIS, okay, we change the whole curriculum almost quarterly. Why? Because we based on the feedback of the customer, and we come back and then do an AI research analyzing the education outcome and change the curriculum. Right? So that one is curriculum design and automation is very important. Of course, end of the day, the school have limited classroom, right? We have limited lecturer and limited resources. How can we automate the whole entire resources so that we can make use of full of the resources, the teacher, the classroom, the material, based on the demand? Well, that is great. That is why the future school system going to be incorporated. Of course, the virtual learning environment that we have, including the Zoom classes like this and simulation. Simulation is the best way to teach. Right? Like, of course, you may able to talk to the student over the world, right? But how to solve this language issue, right? Now I'm solving the language issue because of Zoom. Okay, the media I use is English, but Zoom can translate into Cantonese, simple Chinese, Bahasa, right? I think all of you should use the AI thing in the Zoom, right? So that one I'm able to do a world feedback. And then AI can help us to build an ongoing lifelong learning. Okay, today we have 240 courses in the World Degree Platform, right? So we don't expect you to learn one by one, but with the lifelong learning upskilling system, based on your requirement, your skill gap, and then we can recommend to you, right? Of course, end of the day is all about data-driven, right? As a world-class education system, you should be able to monitoring the student, ongoing, and then get the requirement from them, then you have real-time educational delivery. Okay, so here is just some of the example that I can share with you by we design the whole entire education flow and incorporate the new concept by using AI. Okay, for any of you interested to build a school management system with AI, I already tell you the requirement. You go ahead to build it and guarantee that you will be a billionaire because every school needs your solution. This solution, okay? Yeah, but of course, tonight we are not talking about building our entrepreneurship, right? But it's a share with you about using AI to streamline the whole entire process, design and analyze, okay? And then help the industry. I think that's all what we want to cover tonight. Okay, so any question? Okay, if no, thank you very much. Okay, your patience. Okay, it has been long hours. Okay, thank you. A lot of information, right? So I have made sure that I have recorded. Yes, I did. Okay, so I will upload that to the YouTube and share with every one of you, right? So it's very great experience to have just now we have 30 of you joining. Thank you very much. Good night. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, good night. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.